Hey guys, welcome back to the letter. It's TJ a Gamer Girl signing on. So, last episode, we had a conversation with Hannah, and, well, Luke was being an ass, as per usual. Marianne got drunk off her ass, and did... Oy vey. But now we're back at the manor. Most likely doing more work. Do people ever have the feeling that they're working on something they really enjoy, but still, it eventually tires them out? Because honestly, I've been feeling like this.
You have certainly exceeded expectations, Marianne. Everything looks so marvelous, and in such a short time, too.
Though, moments like these make all the hard work worth it. Definitely.
Well, I can't take all of the credit. People have certainly been enthusiastic about the idea of working on the right mansion. There won't be any more problems unless Mr. Wright has any more objections about the second bedroom.
Again.
Oh, no. We proceed with that room as planned. I already agreed to him having his greenhouse and his vineyard and his stables. He may as well let me have this one thing.
We're only about halfway done, but the honest satisfaction on the client's face is enough for me to push through. Let's face it, between my exasperation at Mr. Wright's antics and her, I've been burning the candles at both ends. Can't even close my eyes without seeing a dead girl's face. Dead girl. Dead. She's dead. I have to keep reminding myself that, burying my feelings as deep as they've buried her body, 6 feet under. I shouldn't waste so much time on someone who's supposed to be gone. I've wasted so many years thinking about her already. There should be no need to bother myself with the dead, when I should be bothering myself with the living. Too bad the living are usually as complicated, if not more, than ghosts of the past.
But don't you have a party?
Yes. But Luke's just being a sweetie, you see. That friend he's visiting. He's having marital problems, and he's just trying to cheer him up.
It's even more complicated when the living in question is a pair of rich and famous socialites way past their honeymoon phase. And I've been somehow roped into being a relationship counselor.
They've been married for a long time, and they've hit how do they say it? A rough patch. His wife has a drinking problem and can be very neglectful. The poor thing really does his best to be a good husband, but it's never enough for her. Sometimes I think it's the years. Maybe it's been so long that they've lost that romantic spark. What do you think?
If I'm going to be completely honest, I need to ask. This is about you and Mr. Wright, isn't it?
Suppose it is. What would you tell me?
Then, I tell you it's none of my business. I tell you that I don't want to meddle. But, if the troubled husband with the neglectful wife asked me for my honest opinion, I'd say that he shouldn't base his happiness and his self-worth on someone else. Maybe he should try being independent for a while. See what it's like when he isn't trying to please someone else and doing things for himself. Everyone's supposed to be their own man or woman, right? A bit of breathing room never hurt anyone. We shouldn't let our fear control our lives.
Why she thinks a single woman like me would be the best source of relationship advice is beyond me. Still, I talk and answer to the best of my abilities. Without realizing it, I'm already pouring out a part of me that I had thought were long gone. I like to believe my words would be of some help to Mrs. Wright. If I'm honest, though, they are of some help to me, like some weight has been taken off my shoulders. Lorraine.
I really should handle what's left of the work.
You won't be attending the party. Oh, you really must, Marianne.
The weight of what happened to her hasn't left me yet. Did it? Maybe.
I'll try to stay and chat. Maybe grab a few bites and a drink, but I can't be around for the entirety of the event. My apologies. Busy.
You must stay a while. I'd love for you to meet some of my friends, and they're ever so excited to meet you. You need to say hello to the Lees, at least. If it wasn't for them, I'd never even heard of you.
Maybe it's about time I changed that.
We'll see. So, if I can be excused?
Certainly. You'll have to excuse me as well. I must attend to the party before any early birds arrive. Because believe me, they will throw a fuss if things aren't ready, even when they're not supposed to be here until an hour later.
Though I shouldn't dwell on the dead. I shouldn't just callously forget about them too. Saying that I have work left to do is an easy enough excuse to make. I know how other people see me. They see someone who's so obsessed with their craft that she would easily miss things like a party for it. Outside the parlor, people hurry about here and there in preparation for the Wright's grand housewarming party. None spare me a glance as I slip past them, each working on their own appointed roles and not daring to slack off while they work for what is possibly the most powerful couple in Luxburn. I make it into the kitchen with ease, the wine cellar being my final destination. But when is a great task ever simple? Probably never. And this is a great task, isn't it? My greatest one yet that is worthy of being called a quest. I'm not acting as Marianne McCulloch, the professional interior designer, when I chose to lie about being too busy for our party. I'm Marianne McCulloch, a lawful neutral cleric with 9 points of wisdom and 8 in charisma. Just thinking about that makes it a bit cheesy. But it helps with the fear. It helps overcome the insane thought that I'm actively seeking out something that has been plaguing me for years. I might face my worst nightmare, or I might see nothing and find my self-imagined grand quest fall flat. And who would have thought that the gatekeeper to my final quest would be someone I thought would be a valuable ally?
Schnell! Hurry up, you snails! We are on a deadline and you are wasting my time!
The butler comes from the cellar and into the kitchen, trailed by a couple of others. People who I assume are most likely chefs and bartenders. He raises a brow, seeing me just standing there by the hatch, by the trap door. It almost looks like he's going to throw me out for being in the kitchen without permission. But then he motions for the others to disperse and familiarize themselves with the surroundings. Meanwhile, he seems to stand there, preventing entry into the darkness beyond.
What are you doing here, Fraulein? This is not the place for guests or in an architect right now. I request you leave.
I was just looking around for any last-minute things, yes?
Yes, you have been doing that a lot. Looking around, snooping about. Now is not the time for such things. If you're not careful, people might think you are up to something.
The look he gives me as he says this is almost chilling. If life was a game book, he'd probably be the true neutral warlock guarding the treasure room. Difficult opponent to beat with 9 points of wisdom and 8 in dexterity.
Well, I'm not done yet. I actually need to go into the wine cellar. Just need a quick go at the place. So just don't mind me. I'll be out of your hair soon enough.
Go outside, enjoy the party. Bask in the praise and adulation they will no doubt shower you with when the madam speaks highly of you. Surely you've had enough of this stuffy old kitchen by now. You do not want to cause trouble. Both the bratwurst and Hannah want this to be perfect. It would be a disservice and disrespect to toe out of line and risk it being anything otherwise. And more importantly, I will be blamed for any failure that happens tonight.
His intervention almost turns me away. Maybe this is a sign that I'm not meant to seek Lorraine out. But...
Please, it's really important.
15 minutes. 9, 10 minutes. Any longer and I'll pull you out of there myself. The bratwurst will be furious if he thinks anyone is touching his precious wine without his permission.
Thank you. This seriously means a lot.
He steps aside begrudgingly. At this point, it looks like there's no turning back. The cellar greets me ominously as I descend. The space feels smaller, with a lot more bottles lining the wall compared to before, and knowing what might be waiting for me here makes things worse. The mirror that's been moved from the study is my goal. I did not return to it after my initial discovery, but the thought of Lorraine, how much I want to see her again, even if it's just for one more time, keeps coming back to me. As I walk through the cellar, I have to stop when I feel something crunch beneath my feet. Whatever few bottles were left behind here are now nothing but glass under my heels. Perhaps dropped by one of the many chefs and bartenders the butler had escorted through here before. And I made a downright mess, with red slick pooling from the remnants of a good drink. With how dark this place is, A person with a dark enough imagination can easily mistake it for blood. I can't help but think it is, despite the easy logical explanation that had come to my mind, only because of what I'm about to do. It's merely a momentary distraction as I continue to the end of the cellar where the mirror stands. Propped up in the far wall, it gleams innocently while pretending to be a simple and ordinary mirror. How morbid to think this thing can show a person their deepest, most desperate desires, then twist it to an image so dark. That's what I'd seen that day. Though I heard Lorraine many times, I had only seen her here within its frame. I wonder if people have discovered it before. How many were wasted away in front of it, enamored, and how many were frightened away by what they saw? Yet, as I stand before it now, nothing. I can barely see my own reflection in this darkness.
How does this even work? Mirror, mirror on the wall? Something? Anything?
Nothing. Touching its surface doesn't make it magically activate or anything like that. There's no sudden surge of power and I'm not suddenly granted sight. It stays what it is. A mirror. Was Lorraine's appearance in the mirror some sort of fever dream? Am I really that burdened with guilt and despair that my mind would eat itself in my stress and have me hallucinate such things? By the way, just going here on some crazy obsession for a girl long gone must warrant me a trip to the doctor. Already I feel ill. After a few more minutes, in the hopes that something would change, I turn around to leave. I could just go back upstairs like nothing ever happened, perhaps drop by the party for some hors d'oeuvres, and then go home and collect myself. Besides, Mrs. Wright is expecting me and I'm...
Going to leave me again then, are you?
I stop in my tracks, but I don't turn back. As much as it pains me, I don't look back. If I'm just hearing her again, desperately delusional, and I looked back to see nothing, I don't want to give myself false hope. But when I feel fingers around my wrist to pull at me, I should look back in shock. My first thought is, how in God's name is this possible? And the second is, Lorraine. Her hands are cold.
Are you that mad at me that you're just going to ignore me, Marianne?
I don't know what to say. I can only stare at her and wonder. She stands there in the mirror with only her arm extended outward for my sake. I look at the hand still holding my wrist, and when she sees me looking at it, she moves it so our hands are intertwined, fingers weave together. Seeing her there and feeling her touch meant I'm not crazy. However impossible and unexplainable this is all to me right now, it just takes my breath away. Pulling her out from there is tempting. I can imagine doing it with ease. We could be together again, Lorraine and Marianne, like nothing had ever happened. But that would all be a great lie, wouldn't it?
What? Pack out your tongue? Don't just look at me like that. Say something.
Even if this thing were some magic portal that could bring back the dead, that doesn't erase anything. Just looking at her, still a young teenager while I'm already a grown woman. It serves no other reason than to break the illusion that blinds me. I've seen her twice now, always behind the mirror. If this is real, if this isn't some delusion, then why can she only exist behind the glass?
Yeah. You have no idea how happy I am to see you. It's been so long.
You don't look happy.
I really am happy. But at the same time, I can't help but think about what happened. To you.
And what does that mean? What are you saying?
She gives me this peculiar look, and before my eyes, she moves to step out of the mirror. In turn, I wrench my hand from her and take a step back, almost as if I'm afraid.
I don't know how this is possible. But whatever this is, it isn't real. You can't be real.
I'm right here, aren't I? What other proof do you need?
No. I see you. I hear you. I feel you. But even with all that, you can't be real. You just can't. I saw your body. I helped bury you. You're dead.
A deep hurt crosses her face, and it just breaks my heart in two, seeing her wear that expression.
Burying me wasn't the only thing you did. Don't you dare lie. But I'm going to be the bigger woman, aren't I? Let bygones be bygones. I'll forgive you, as long as you stay with me, Marianne. That's why you came down here, right? To find me?
That was the plan. I came down here looking for her, for closure. But this isn't this isn't just closure. This is something else entirely. I don't think I would be forced to make such a choice. Do I leave? Or do I stay? I need to move on. Closure. That's all I came here for. Whatever this is, it might as well just all be just the devil's trick. And I might as well make some use of it, right? I say nothing at first, for fear of angering whatever phantom this is. I take Lorraine's hand and bring it up to my lips, pressing a kiss to get to her knuckles. She takes it as some sort of invitation to pull me along, to step back into the mirror until only her arm is extended again.
I should have been more honest back then, both to you and myself. I know it's too late. I'm sorry. But
the thought of being with the dead did not agree with me. Not one bit.
I can't stay with you.
So what? You're going to leave me for some old trophy wife? That's it, isn't it? You're going to leave poor Amy Lorraine and go after the next rich, pretty blonde that you see.
This is a mistake.
All these years, guilt has been my driving force. I felt so guilty for what I did, what I didn't do.
She thinks she can guilt me into being complacent, but she realizes otherwise as I pull my hand from her. And, going by the look of anger on her face, an anger that runs cold, she did not like the fact that I'm not some puppet on a string. Had she chosen her words carefully, I would have accepted whatever punishment Lorraine chooses to give me. Guilt had ran my life, and it might have very well ended it. Because I deserved it.
But what I did to me. The blood in my hands is mine, not yours.
Whoever or whatever this shadow is, my gut tells me she's not Lorraine. Yet I keep talking as if she is.
I broke your heart, not your neck.
Don't you dare deny it! It was your fault!
Because I loved you more than I dared to admit? Yes, that was my fault. But I never meant to hurt you like that.
Despite my words, no matter how sincere they are, she appears angry. Enraged, in fact. It's been years since I last saw that face, and even now, the memory of it is still etched deeply in my mind. The hurt, the tears, and the hate spilling from her eyes that day, the moment I rejected her. Rejected myself for who I am. And she definitely will hate what I am about to do next. To my left, a wine rack. And from there, I take a bottle and pray to all the saints I can remember. For all my sins. For every hurtful words I've uttered. For what I have driven her to do that day. What I forced her into.
What are you doing?
I do it without thinking twice. Quickly, before I can hesitate, I grab a bottle and send it straight towards the mirror. Shards of the bottle and the mirror are sent flying everywhere as Lorraine screams echo in the cellar. Bitter. Searing. Like every wounding accusation she hurled at me. They've never left me. I doubt they ever will. But with this, I can move away from them. From her. Live my life as it should be. As I should. Free from the burden. Her burden. Because Lorraine I know. The real one. The person I loved will never want me carrying this to my death. As the screaming dies down, I can't help but mutter weakly.
It's done. It's done. Oh, Lorraine. Forgive me, Lorraine.
I take some time to compose myself. Breathing in and out, stamping down on the tremors still racking my hands, straightening out my jacket and fixing my hair. All a weak attempt at returning myself to someone resembling my normal self. This would probably be easier to do with a mirror, but I likely won't be able to stand looking at one for a long time.
Well now, I should probably go back up there. Party to attend, rich socialites to do business with, and food to eat. Mrs. Wright will be happy if I make some time for it anyway.
Yet one last time, to the shattered glass beneath my feet.
I'm sorry, Lorraine. May you see God's light on the path.
Turning around to leave, and for good this time, the uneasy smile on my face falls as I see Lorraine, whole and well.
Come on, Mac. You really didn't think it would be that easy, did you? You get bonus points for trying. But you should know innate charisma is not enough to turn undead.
She advances towards me, backs me against the wall. I can't even reach for another wine bottle without putting myself within her reach. Despite my earlier bravado, I didn't think she'll be able to exist at all without the mirror. Can you blame me, though? It's not like I'm an expert on the supernatural.
That's not... You shouldn't be...
What? After the mirror? Did you think just moving on will erase what you did to me? You're nothing but a murderer, Marianne. A murderer!
Stay back. You're not real. Leave me alone. Stop. I'm trying to move on with my life, so why won't you let me? Please, just get out of my head and leave me be.
I try to find an exit when there's a click. The next thing I know, I'm falling back into darkness. I fall on my back, and the door slams shut behind me. In a daze, I look around warily and find myself in another room entirely. On the other side of the wall, some sort of secret passage perhaps, an underground tunnel that has me wary and frightened. It also proves that the oddities of the mansion's floor plans are a lot more than just little discrepancies. I expect Lorraine to jump out at me from the darkness at any time. The breeze blowing through the tunnel has me relieved, though, at the idea there's still a way to escape should that happen. That is way better than being trapped underground with God only knows what that was. A funny thought comes to mind as I start walking toward the exit might be. I think about how Mrs. Wright would be so disappointed if I didn't show up to the party. I imagine how furious Mr. Wright would be for breaking one of his wine bottles. Even Johan's reaction comes to mind, though I don't really know with that guy. One thing's for sure is that I would be calling Cam and Haruna for a drink as soon as I get out of here. That noise has me wary. A ghastly thing. The corpse of a woman leans on the wall. Her arms and limbs, almost every inch of her lithe body, is peppered with wounds and rotting flesh. And it is then that the putrid smell of blood and gore hits me, making it so that I don't even question how I missed it in the first place.
How long has this been here? Oh, that smell. Oh, you're a nasty one, aren't you?
I flinch as the thing twitches. But as soon as it opens its eyes and looks at me with a smile, there's nothing on my mind but horror. I break into a run. I try to keep running, no matter how much my legs and feet scream at me to stop. I keep going, even when I look back and see nothing of her anymore, because I can still hear her. The scampering of her feet, the words she tried to form with her bloodied mouth, and the painful sounds of bones grinding against each other as she moves closer and closer to me.
How long are these damn tunnels?
There's a split second where I know that thing is right behind me. Strange sensation creeping over my limbs when her presence looms over me. And then suddenly, I can't even do anything before I'm yanked back by the hair and pulled back. Still, I struggle, up until I'm thrown to the side like some rag doll. I hit the ground on my side, and the musty smell of old hay that reaches me is only indication that I'm still alive.
Please don't hurt me.
My body hurts, and I keep my eyes shut tight, afraid of what might happen next.
What's wrong, Marianne? Are you really afraid of little old me?
There's only dread seeing how she's followed me even here. She looms over me, backs me further in the cell that I was thrown in.
Please. It's so cold. I don't want to be alone, Marianne. Why won't you stay with me? Why would you leave me? Why?
What are you?
Lorraine turns and shifts into that thing from before. And with that same gruesome grin, it takes a step forward towards the cell. Towards me. I barely scramble to my knees to the door when the doors to the cell slam shut, and it just stands there staring. Shouts for help ring out in the tunnels, but none of them are coming for me. I'm more paralyzed and shocked by what's happening. My throat tightens at being fooled by the image of Lorraine, at the thought of being trapped down here. So then, where?
Help me! Oh, help me! Are you getting all this on camera, Carl? Yeah, but are you guys sure this is a good idea? We're breaking and entering here. Don't worry, the owners of this place haven't been here in a long time. Look at this thing, though. It has writing in blood like some cheesy 80s horror prop. Wait, I have an idea. Oh man, that's genius!
What kind of butthead would even take this thing seriously? Maybe we can stick this in Rowan's backpack. That Suarez kid would panic.
Guys? What? Spit it out! Behind you!
In the corner of the cell, a digital camera comes flickering to life, and a video has been played on the back on the screen. It was hard to even consider paying any attention to it when my life is on the line. But when the ghost doesn't move and the teenagers' mocking shouts of "help me" filled the cell, I just had to watch. What I'd seen, students, judging by their St. Goretti uniforms, they were holding
That letter.
and that thing, the woman, she... And now we're on to Rebecca's chapter. I hope to God Marianne is alive. Otherwise, she's a dead woman. This is how it begins, or so they say. With the gentle wind drifting through wide-open windows, muffled laughters and footsteps fading behind empty hallways, and the light kiss of the afternoon sun. Soon, there'll be a call, crossing of thresholds into the unknown. Maybe we're off to some grand adventure, or driving into another gripping mystery. One can't really tell. For all I know, a hero might come sweep me off my feet if I'm lucky. Oh. She's not too happy with Ash. That's fine. Whatever.
That's not exactly a bad thing when you think about it.
But this is far from one, isn't it? A riveting tale, that is. The mild breeze, the faint murmurs, the warm rays painting every nook and cranny a fiery hue. They're all as real as they can get. As much as I want to write a little tale out of this, I'm far from someone who can. Fleeting fancies, that's what these are. Merely passing thoughts to occupy an idle mind, while waiting for another busy work day to end. And again, maybe in another life, I am one. Who knows? But at present, what I have and what I've chosen to be? Well,
I won't last years here if I find teaching rowdy adolescents a tedious job, will I?
admittedly, the whole affair isn't exactly as grand or exciting as I had imagined as a child. If I weren't so stubborn and too passionate about the whole idea, I probably would have quit a long time ago. But it's always the kids that make it worthwhile, isn't it? As if in agreement, as soon as my pen slides into a neat circle against the papers, I'm grading final bell rings. Like a dam that is opened, students begin piling out of the hallway soon after. For a short minute, I let the noise fill my ears, let my mind wander to a place far removed from all the hubbub. Solitary moments like this have come few and far between lately. Even my own home hasn't been as quiet as I usually prefer. Though in hindsight, the entire place hasn't been the same either since Isabella moved in next door. And if her fussing over a minor cold last week tells anything, I might as well throw away any idea of solitude out the nearest balcony as long as she lives nearby. At the memory, my eyes automatically shift over to the bottle sitting at the edge of my desk. A chuckle escapes from me as I reach for it.
A little ball of energy and enthusiasm. That big baby.
Mother Hen, she calls me, and then says and does the same thing right after. It's not that I'm unused to being on the receiving end of other people's worries, or I feel any sort of apprehension over her fretting. If I'm to be completely honest, it's actually amusing how someone can be childlike one minute, then act like a responsible adult the next. But there's a dissonance there, both in her actions and words. Although she may not look it, may not say anything, or may not lose her cheer, one way or another, I know these troubles have weighed down on her lately. Her face says it all, that a big numpty. If she thinks I won't notice, she's got another thing coming for her. That's how she's always been. I do understand that part, loud and clear. It's just that I'd really rather not pass another burden on to her.
Or become one myself.
Aren't I supposed to be the one taking care of them? Though, I guess that's simply one of those things people eventually grow away from. Once you've all started leading different lives. Not completely different, I hope. Somehow, that thought makes me feel uneasy. Thankfully, before stranger ideas can take root in my head, a faint buzzing comes from my bag, cutting through the rest of my thoughts. A small frown forms on my lips when I see the screen light up, and an unknown number flashes. For a long second, my thumb hovers over the answer button, even the voice that responds once I do accept the call is wholly unfamiliar.
Hello?
Oh, goodness. Finally, it connects. Hello? Is this Miss Gales? Rebecca Gales?
Yes, speaking. Who is this?
Oh, sorry. Rose Cooper. Briar Realty Corporation.
Briar Realty?
My frown deepens as I straighten from my chair. Something in her tone, despite sounding remarkably friendly and light, doesn't sit quite well with me. The rigid pause that follows doesn't help to ease the tension. This suddenly descended either.
Miss Cooper?
Yes. Things are a bit busy on my end. I apologize. I'm not certain if Isabella has mentioned anything before, but we're working together on a property at the moment, and
The Armengard Mansion, yes. She said something about that earlier. Is there a problem?
this is about Isabella, actually.
She wasted no time relaying everything. The details she provided me are admittedly a bit vague, but enough for me to get a gist of what happened. It isn't the bad sort of expecting, though still worried. Especially with the words panic attack, and pale looking a bit sickly woven together in one foreboding sentence. But as quickly as it surfaces, I stomp down the urge to demand answers right then and there. Now isn't the proper time for useless questions. I'll find out soon enough regardless. To Miss Cooper's credit, she neither hesitates nor falters all throughout. There's some sort of comfort in knowing Isabella has someone like her to guide her, though not as much as I would have liked. After all, this is Isabella we're talking about. What are the chances she just had a bunch of excuses so she won't get sent home? High. Very high. Oh, she is so going to hear it this time.
You were listed as one of her emergency contacts, so I thought it'd be best you know about this.
How is she? Is she doing okay?
I had her take a break for now, but honestly, I'd feel better if someone were to pick her up and take her home for some rest. Anthem's a fair distance from Luxbourne. I really don't want her going off on her own. I'd do it myself, but you know how it is today. Big day. People everywhere until the open house ends. I'm really sorry to ask this of you, Miss Gales. I know you're busy.
Oh, no, it's all good. I was just about to leave from work. I hope to leave early today anyway. A few minutes ahead wouldn't hurt. I can be there in a few, 30, 40 minutes tops. Is that all right?
More than fine, Miss Gales, thank you. We're supposed to be here until... Oh, excuse me. One moment, please. Yes, ma'am.
A faint hum of conversation echoes from her end. It sounds as though the place is buzzing with more people than you'll expect from a regular open house. I was skeptical at first. The house is old, not to mention its inconvenient location and Luxbourne's outskirts. Who wants to live in a place that almost an hour's drive away from the comforts of a city? But from little I can hear, it appears Isabella has every right to be optimistic about the sale. If I didn't understand why she was so adamant refusing my offer of help before, I think I do now. To some degree.
We'll be resuming the tour soon. Yes, thank you. Sorry about that. I really need to get this thing going. Lord knows how I'll salvage the situation here. It shouldn't be anything complicated, but still, clients. They can be difficult when they want to be. Anyway, just look for me when you get here, alright? I shouldn't be too hard to miss.
No problem. Thanks for letting me know about this. Just make sure Isabella stays put, please. Heaven knows how stubborn that girl can be.
Oh, believe me, I know. Don't worry about it. I'll have a few of our staff keep an eye on her for me until you get here.
That's all I'm asking. I appreciate it.
The whole thing ends on a surprisingly pleasant note. If only the same could be said for the news she brought. I allow a brief minute to pass to ease whatever tension has latched itself firmly to my nerves. But no matter how much I wish for it, my mind stubbornly refuses to do so. My hands are unsteady against the papers I pretend to arrange after. Lucid thoughts, every ounce of it grimier than the other, grows with each passing second I linger. Something about this whole thing, along with the sudden unease and nagging worry, screams off. Wrong. This isn't the riveting tale I've hoped to step into today. Alright, I'm going to end the episode here. I really hope Marianne is alive. Oh boy. Alright, well, I'll see you guys in the next one. Till then, this is the Gamer Girl signing off. Signing off. Bye bye.